Hi again folks, how's all doing? I'm in my layout room where I'm in the middle of building my Metcalf kit viaduct. It's nearly done. I'm pretty sure it'll be done by the end of today. And you can maybe see behind me a load of polystyrene. So I'll be getting stuck into that tomorrow probably. But I thought I would do this video as it's something I've been meaning to do for a long time but kept putting off. So ages and ages and ages ago, Stuart from St Mary Church Model Railway donated this old Lima crab to me. Now, I took this apart and I had intended to try and restore it, but the body shell is too far gone. It looks like it's been melted or corroded or in some way in places, and there's bits broken off it. And the chassis is kind of in a similar state. Yeah, just the whole thing really was in too poor condition. So sadly, I confined it to the scrap box. So thanks very much to Stuart for sending me this, but apologies for not being able to do much with it. But spares to me are hugely valuable, so it's still massively appreciated, even though it's not really worth trying to restore unless I can pick up another body shell and maybe a new chassis as well. But we'd start to get into Trigger's broom territory. Now, a wee while later, but still ages ago, a chap called Frank sent me this Lima crab, also as a donation. But as you can see, it's in a state of disassembly. Frank said he took it apart to try and service it and never managed to get it back together. It's as I found when I took this one apart, these Lima crabs, really take daft design to another level. Which is another reason really that this one got scrapped. Once I got it apart, I thought, no, it's just not worth the effort to try and get it back together again. But I really can't leave this one in this state. It's a nice looking model, and I'd like to get it all back together and working. So thanks very much to Frank for sending me this, and apologies it's taken so long to get around to looking at it. But let's see if we can get this back together and running again. So we'll take it off to the bench. Okie dokie then, let's see what we've got here. Yeah, as I said, the condition of this seems to be really good. I don't see anything wrong with the tender at all. We'll give the motor a service, but the drawbar is complete with its little pickup wire. There's a couple of things, can't remember what these are called, but these will plug into the tender there. So yeah, tender looks fine. The body, apart from a broken buffer at the front, is in really good condition. We've got the front bogie with its little steps. That was Lima's solution to the step problem that this locomotive has. Normally the steps would be on the side there, but by all accounts the front bogie wheels would hit the steps. So they've put the steps on the front bogie, so the steps move with the front wheels. The other crab that Stuart gave me didn't have the steps. We've got some other bits and bobs in there, including the little broken part for the buffer there and the buffer itself. So yeah, I think this is the main problem. Now, because this is a tender drive locomotive, these wheels should be moving nice and freely, but they don't. So there's clearly something up. But as I say, having dismantled that other Lima crab, the yeah, I can see why anybody taking one of these apart would maybe have trouble getting them back together again, because this piece here basically clips on the inside of the chassis block, and I can see that either side of the plastic chassis block here is actually bulging out a little bit. So something's not in correct position. There's a big block of die cast inside this thing, so maybe that's not quite where it should be or something. So we'll need to get this out and take this apart a bit and see if we can sort it. So, as I say, this clips in, but it's just such a daft design. There we go. So, basically prise the chassis sides away from each other and this should start to come out. Like that. And there is the block of die-cast I was talking about. Right, so pickups on those two wheels and pickups on these two wheels. Okie dokie. So we'll need to remove the wheels, I think. There's tiny little nuts on the end of the middle crank there. See if this fits. Yes, it does. So that then lifts off, and that lifts off. So I can now get that wheel out. Right, so this crank here, there's no way to keep that on in the right position apart from the tension of that nut. It's not very good. Right, let's undo this one. See how that crank turns? You have to get that in the right, just have to get that in the right position, then tighten this up. The other nut out, get that off, and then we can lift these wheels out. Let's see what happens. Try and lift this out. Oh dear. I think we've got a bit of the old Mazak rot. Yeah, that's all misshapen. I think that's been the problem. You can actually see there where it's started to swell and split. So here's the one from Stuart's one. It's yeah, better. Doesn't look it, but actually it's not as swollen. And they're like so. So that fits in a bit better. We've got some bent rods as well. That's a lot better. Right, okay, I think we'll get some oil on these axles. And then we shall see about getting this back on and see if the wheels remain free. So I'm pretty sure that goes at the front there. Clips in there. Righty-ho. This is looking hopeful actually. So pop that on there. That'll go on there. And then we've got to put these little nuts on tightly. I get quite a lot of comments about my shaky hands. People worried that I've got Parkinson's or something. I've always had shaky hands. You know, some people do. It's just one of these things. And the fiddlier the thing I'm trying to do, the more finicky and fiddly it is, the worse they get. So when I'm trying to do something tiny here, the hands tend to shake. I can't help it. It's just something that has always happened. I remember, building Airfix kits and having exactly the same issue, even when I was a little boy. It's just the way I am, I'm afraid. But no, I don't have Parkinson's or anything like that. Not that I know of anyway. Of course, all the whiskey I drink doesn't help either. Right, okay, let's get that just into position, hold it there, tighten it, and hopefully that'll be fine. Let me just check that this now runs freely. No, it doesn't. What's causing it to lock up? Ooh, that rod's a little bit bent. The metal in these rods is so soft, and that's a bit bent. There we go. That's what I like to see. I think this piece here goes on there, like that. So that goes on that way, that would go on there. Yeah, I think that's just a little piece of metal that acts almost like a bearing. You know, it's stopping the two pieces of plastic rubbing together. It just makes that front bogie articulate better. That's all that is, I think. That then fits on there, and then clip that back down. So this is my body fixing screw, which, ooh, it's a bit strange. Let's just fit this together. This really is an absolutely nuts design. It's funny, you know, because Lima diesels are very simple, you know, very simple designs, dead easy to work on, but this is an absolute disaster. There we go. I don't understand the screw at the back because the shoulder on it is far too big. Yeah, I think it is actually meant to hang down like that. Right, let's undo it again, and we'll couple up the tender. See if this actually runs. Yeah. Yeah, I think that must just go like that. Right, let's get this on the test track and see if it does anything. Oh, look at that, it does. Sort of. Alright, okay. We'll open this up, service the motor, we'll fix the front buffer, stick those back on, stick these wee things back on, give it a wee clean, and that'll be us. Screw front and back here. Is that now coming out? No. That buffer beam come out? No. There we go. Pull it back. And we've got two weights. Got these floating wheels in the middle. Yeah, that needs a clean up. The gears need filed. Take the clip off. These gears will come off. Get the manky brush onto it. Brushes fall out. Yep, they do. And they're in pretty good condition. There's the commutator, which isn't too bad. So we'll give that a scoosh out. And that a scoosh. And we'll take it onto the commutator. Give it another scoosh. And we'll scoosh these gears just to degrease them. These axles are clean and the pickup's clean, so that's fine. Spot of silicone grease onto the spindles. Silicone grease is nice and plastic friendly. The brushes are actually quite clean, so it's not been over oiled. Right, give them a wee bend just to make sure they stay put. The Lima clips, give them a file. The metal's always far too sharp. So, right. Something like that. And that'll go over there. And clips in like that. Get some super glue on there with a pin. There we go. Front buffer fixed. Just pushes in there like that. Like so. Stick these in. They should just push in. And there we go. The Lima crab. Let's go and stick it round the loop. Okay, let's pull her out of the shed. Right, okay, it's running okay, but I've noticed a little bit of hesitation going around the corners, and what I'm seeing is the middle wheels on the tender, especially on this side, tend to drop down and catch on the outside of the track. So I think what I'll do is open the tender back up and see if there's a way if I can lift these middle wheels up. Also, it should be pulling away a little bit smoother than it is, I think. The Lima ring field can be a bit sticky, but we'll see. Running in might help that. But main thing is, let's sort these middle wheels. So yeah, this just kind of slots in like that. And is subject to a lot of movement. So I think if I can just lift it up a bit, it will solve that problem. I think what I'll try and do is put a piece of plastic in there. Cable ties might come to the rescue again. I've cut a little piece of cable tie that I think will just fit in there, which it does, just perfectly. And we'll put that back in like so. And what that piece of cable tie is doing, once the motor's in place, it should be fine. It's just lifting the wheels up just a little bit. Right, we'll give this another go. Okay, let's give this another go. So there we are, that's this Lima crab back together and running again. Thanks very much to Frank for sending me this. It's a nice looking model, specifically in this livery, but blimey, it really is a bag of nuts. The chassis design is just nuts, the pickups are nuts, the drawbar's nuts, the way the tender body fits on is nuts, the front bogey is nuts, the whole model is just nuts. But The main problem with this was Mazak rot in that die-cast chassis core. It was really swollen and misshaping, and that was causing distortion in the plastic chassis, which was stopping the wheels from turning smoothly. So it was very fortunate that Stuart had sent me the other crab, and that the die-cast block in that one was still okay. So it just goes to show how useful it is to have spares. This is running okay, especially after lifting the middle wheels on the tender. But I think it would run better with some additional pickups. And also, I think the motor's a bit sticky. It's not pulling away very slowly. I may have another look at it, as I think the axles on the tender are maybe a bit tight. Despite all the madness with this, it's been fun working on it. It's always good to work on something a bit different. So thanks very much again to Frank. I hope he's happy to see this running again, and it'll have a good home once the new layout is up and running. Talking of which, I better get back to that. So, okay folks, catch yous later.